Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Comin in Clutch. My name is Lorenzo Giacomini, aka the Speedy Guidi. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Comin in Clutch. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about some of our favorite vehicles on the market and off the market, but some of our favorites with four wheels. It's going to be a good one, guys. I think we're going to segue straight into a new segment that we have, guys, and it's basically we're going to put two cars against one another, kind of in a fantasy world. If you were to choose one of them, what would it be? Kind of like a would you rather. And the two cars that we have...
It's the head-to-head.
It's the head-to-head.
The face-to-face.
Yeah, the face-to-face for the discount Motor Trend version of that. But basically, the cars we're going to be talking about today are the Toyota Supra and the Corvette C8. Now, Cody, would you rather have a Toyota Supra or the new Corvette C8? Money is no obstacle.
All right. To tell you the truth, I'm going with the Corvette. I'm not going to lie. I'm going with the Corvette. I think that it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm going with it.
Okay,
it's my
so
choice. So you have to choose the Supra now.
Yeah, I'll be the devil's advocate here and argue for the Supra. But the reason why we chose those two cars, guys, is because they are both in the same price category. So they're both $65,000. The Supra now, with dealer markups, will go for an extra $30,000 because people want them so bad and they're that hype. But the base price for both of them is around $60,000 to $70,000, which is insane to think about because the C8 Corvette comes with a mid-engine V8, and that's a straight six?
I don't even know.
Inline six?
I don't know. It's like 300 and change horsepower, but just to tell you the truth, it's like you get so much with the Corvette, and you're paying not that much. And I feel like you're getting not that much with the Supra, and you're paying a premium.
I'll argue for the Supra, and you are getting a more refined driving cockpit because it is made by BMW, like sitting in that. And you said that earlier.
That's it.
And it's like nice.
You could just stop it there.
And it's a great daily. It's a better
BMW.
It's a better daily than a Corvette. Like you could drive that every day. You can't drive the Corvette every day, even though I probably would. But the Corvette's a way better driver's car, and I can't deny that. Maybe. Actually, I don't know. I can't say I haven't driven either. I've driven that shortly, and it was cool.
What are your thoughts?
It was like not that quick.
Okay. Anything positive? Anything engaging?
It's a nice built interior. It looks nice. I like the center tack. I like the looks from some angles. The noise is nice. I like it because there's a high tunability to that. Everyone knows that, and they will be coming out with a manual soon, which the C8 won't. So once they come out with a manual and maybe the price drops, then I'd consider it. But the C8, like right now, it's a better option.
Yeah, so...
You kidding me?
Oh my God.
Silence your phones at all times.
All right, I blew it.
No, it's okay. But yeah, no, I'm trying to be devil's advocate here, but
you're making all
but there are people watching who are probably ripping their hair out. They're like, the Supra's so much better because of this and that. So that's what we're going to open up the discussion to you guys. Every week, we're going to talk about two cars, and we want you guys to comment below on Instagram or DM us or on YouTube, whatever, and comment the car that you like more. And then we'll do like we'll take a poll.
Yeah, we're gonna halt the conversation on the Corvette and the Supra for now, so that you guys can put in your opinions, and then next week next episode we'll give a full discussion on these two cars,
and we'll bring up two more cars. So it'll just be like every week we'll have something else, some new discussion.
Yeah,
but besides that,
hopefully we don't forget.
We probably will. Cody,
let's talk about some of our favorites, man.
No, I wanted to ask you what you been to any car shows lately? Anything new?
No, I haven't.
Tomorrow
I've been to too many car shows recently.
Yeah, I haven't really either. Tomorrow is MALIBU AUTOBAHN. Our good buddies put that on. We're gonna have a bunch of footage right now showing you some of the cars that we saw. We will see tomorrow, which when you're watching this, we did see.
In future tense.
Yes. Generally, the showing is pretty good. There's a lot of cars, a lot of young people like us. It's really great. Our buddies put it on, and they're really great people. Check them out. Go to the shows if you can.
Yeah,
if you're around, seriously.
Jake and Iowa, they put on an awesome Malibu Autobahn show, but then the whole point of the show is that most people that show up are driving the car, and then they all take a drive to their facility up in Moore Park, which is called Autobahn Alliance, where they do storage, and they also have a lounge, and they're going to be doing a panel with speakers tomorrow on all kinds of different topics.
Seriously, check them out. The fact that like they're our age and they put on this huge car show, like 100 or so cars show up. It's like insane.
Like 400.
Yeah, like they have to turn people down. It's incredible.
Registered.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
We get kicked out from like the beach police because the shows are on the beach.
But it's dope because they take like the nice cruise.
It's
a real rally.
I've never gone on the cruise because I don't have a cool enough car to do that. If I did, I would.
Yeah,
but
you have like a GTI. That's a fun like Canyon Carver.
Yeah, but
buddy.
No. Give me like a GT350.
I knew you were gonna say that. Well, I mean, I think
that's a dream car.
I think that leads us nicely into what we want to get into, which is our favorites.
I think so too.
I think we already know that Lorenzo's favorite car currently is the Mustang GT 350R. Is that safe to say that that's your favorite car?
Well, yeah, just for the money. Right now, it would be a great car. Like if I were to buy a car tomorrow, it'd probably be that.
Why not the 500? They just came out with the 500.
Because I don't want a 10-speed automatic.
It's a 10-speed automatic?
It's a 10-speed automatic.
What's the point of that? What's
shorter gearing for acceleration and fuel economy. Ford has like this on all the new F-350s. It's all like I think it's all the 10-speed everything. All
that's
Ford
like
is 10
that's
speed.
like a tractor trailer.
It's ridiculous, dude. Correction: the GT500 does not have a 10-speed auto. Instead, it has a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. I was thinking of the 2019 Camaro ZL1 LE, which does in fact have a 10-speed auto if you're dumb enough to pay for that option. That is all.
Like
700 horsepower, do you have like...
If you're in Tiptronic or if you have the paddle shifters, you're just like meep, 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 meep. I mean, you get the idea.
No, I get the idea.
All right.
I want a manual, man. Give me a manual.
All right. Well,
but why don't you explain to the people what we're kind of going on here, this like scenario that we're talking about here, like our favorite cars, like what's like the prerequisite.
Well, the ideal car person scenario is what's in your garage,
right? So like I was gonna say top 5 cars, but every car that we chose when we were talking about this episode happened to fit in a category. It was a classic and a hypercar, and then an everyday and a Canyon Carver. Like those are like the kind of cars you want to go for.
There's too many cars out to say that like you would have the ideal garage, because my ideal garage would change every year.
Oh my gosh.
Because new cars are coming out, or like the market changes and more cars become available, or cars become popular and you want them. So I think that 5-car garage question, we're going to start off with that, but then like essentially we're going to have to go through and really talk about each topic and which is our favorite car.
Absolutely. I actually, I don't know if you know this, but when I first moved to LA and I just like started my Speedy Greedy channel, I had a little show called the Speaky Greedy where I just like talked shit. And one of the episodes.
How long ago was that?
That was like a year and a half ago.
I guess you were like a little squeaky greedy.
Yeah, I'll put some footage right now of it in black and white. It's like, and I had my top 5 favorite cars, but those cars, those cars that I chose are completely different than the ones I have now. Totally. I had like a Koenigsegg Agera and like a Cayenne Turbo S. Totally. And like I've driven those cars, and I'm just like, okay, the Koenigsegg's freaking rad, but like, I don't want it. I mean, where do you drive a Koenigsegg? I think it costs $2.5 million.
Well, I mean,
it'd be swag.
and it's crazy because like we see them all the time, so we know like if a guy doesn't show up to a car show with his Koenigsegg, it means like there's something wrong with the battery.
Like
these issues,
or it's not working. Yeah,
like it's just not working right. So like I believe that it's like on the surface you think like, oh man, wouldn't it be awesome to have one of these cars in my garage? Dude. But to actually own one, really, like, it's definitely not all
No, it's not.
rainbows
It's
and
yeah, it's
candy
all
canes.
smoke and mirrors in a lot of ways.
But
it's
all right,
still cool.
so let's start it off and give me a breakdown. What's like your ideal 5-car garage right now?
Do you want me just to tell you it, and then we can kind of go from there?
Give me your 5 cars.
Because I've thought about
and then
this.
I'll ask about them.
I've thought about this way too much. Like I go on drives and I'm just like, God, I would love to have these cars in my garage for no reason. Not that I could buy one, not that I could buy them or want them or use them, but it basically boils down to this: Speedy's like super garage. If I were to choose it would be a Ferrari F40 for sure, Porsche GT3 with a stick and a wing, like the one we had in episode 2, the chocolate.
Solid.
A 812 super fast because I just love it. I just love that car.
Solid car.
Probably a Lamborghini Performante to satisfy my mid-engine craving that I have. An E63 S wagon, because I want an everyday swagoo car.
Okay.
That I can hoon around and not really care too much about. I can bang it up. And a Carrera GT.
That's
6, I think. And a Carrera GT is just like
solid.
Such
lineup.
a sick raw car that like when I drove it, I was like, I wanted to cry because it was so beautiful. It was just like on it. So
Very
those are like
well-rounded.
And like so basically it boils down to the F40 is the vintage, right? Porsche GT3 would be my Canyon Carver kind of thing. Super fast would be like my cool GT car. I'd take it to Pebble Beach during the car week. Come on back. I get there in 2 hours. Performante would be another Canyon Carver / cool Saturday night car to go out in because it's a Lambo kind of thing. That'd be like my showy offy car if I thought I would do that. But if you have a Lambo, you're not going to not get seen in a Lambo, right?
Lambos.
E63 would be the everyday car. And then Carrera GT would be like another kind of vintage, just sick car.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
I have so many more, guys. Like, there's so many more
thing.
that I would go for. But, like, if I had to die with these 6 cars and 6 cars in front of me, it'd probably be those.
If I had to die with these 6 cars in front of me,
that is subject to change
so
in the next hour.
because then you wouldn't be able to drive them any longer.
Yeah. So let's see what you have to say. Like,
I mean,
what
I have to agree with you. A number of those choices were top notch. I probably, F40 definitely. I think for every car collector right now, F40 in your garage is like a staple. You need that.
It's also just like the best looking car of all time.
Yeah, it's insane. No matter what generation you're from, it looks amazing. It sounds amazing. Like
it goes amazing. Not that I've driven one, but like. Holy guacamole, guys.
I mean, it's like...
Talk about an appreciating asset.
It's a poster car. It's a magazine cover car. It's a winning racer. It's awesome.
It's a Ferrari. Car. It's got It's just like... It's the everything you'd want.
Well, the F40 is sick. I obviously... I have to have like my RS6 Avant, the new 2020.
Yeah.
I have to have my wagon.
Yeah. I mean, if one of us is going to have an E63, the other might as well have an RS6. It'd be cool. It could be dads.
But is your E63 going to be a wagon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The wagon. There's no way I'm choosing sedan.
That's
1,000% the wagon. If I didn't make that clear, it's the wagon.
The wagon is the way to go. The E63 hauls ass. I mean, that thing's a fucking champ. I mean, what is that?
It fucking slaps.
It's like 600 horsepower and change. I think it's 600 horsepower. It's got a little bit more horsepower than my RS6, like 10 horsepower.
Dude, it's incredible.
But it's fucking awesome. But my RS6
the R6 looks better.
It's newer now. It looks better. I think it looks a little more aggressive.
Let's hope the R6 has a good soundtrack like the E63 because E63 sounds sick.
You know it will. Generation after generation, the R6 has been amazing.
But like looking back at like I don't know, I don't think the other one sounded that
AMG
loud, that good.
Awesome, but that RS exhaust is real good.
Yeah. And that opens it up to a lot of tuning and stuff too, which would be cool.
You know, I kind of have an appreciation for older cars more than newer cars. I have a couple.
Totally valid.
So right now, another older car that I have on my list is the Diablo SB. That's just like
that's a cool one.
Ripping car. Like I would keep the F40 in the garage for the most part and take it out on special occasions. but I feel like I would rip around a Diablo SV.
Wait, food for thought. A Diablo SV, or you wouldn't rather have a Murcielago SV with a stick? Because a Murcielago SV is with a stick is probably the coolest Lambo they've ever made.
It's awesome, but like the Murcielago came out, it, like wasn't my childhood poster car. It was an awesome car, and it still is. And I think the market is super crazy for them right now, and it's just shitting all over the Aventador SV. The
Oh my
Aventador
God,
is
it
just
so
like a
is.
giant barge, and I mean, like, not that the Murcielago is any easier to drive, but I think that there's a lot of hype on the Murcielago right now. It's
That's
a
a good
great,
point.
it's
That's a good
amazing
point.
looking car. It sounds amazing. It's got that high rim V12. It's
The
sick.
Diablo's already a classic, basically.
Diablo
the Murcielago's
is-
got to wait. a little bit.
Diablo is more of a classic. The Murcielago to me is like too new to be vintage, and it's too old to be like a current,
Yeah.
current standard supercar.
Absolutely. What color would you get in?
I'm gonna be a Lambo. So I'm gonna get in yellow.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Would you
I'm
get the
gonna
SV
be
in like
Diablo
blue or
SV.
something? Like something?
Yeah,
with
we get the
chrome wheels?
big SV on the side, the fat SV logo on the side, and it would be in like blue. Yeah, probably. And I'd get those big
You get
alloy
fucking blue
wheels.
seats too, dude.
Yeah. No, I'm not a total douchebag, but whatever.
That's a good one. I really appreciate that.
I think it's awesome, and I'm super set on the 1997 Turbo S. That's like another
What
must have in my garage.
What model year? What like?
So
code
that's
name
like
is
a
that again?
993 Turbo S. They made 183 of them.
We have one over the one that's over there, basically that black one.
I'm not sure.
The 993 is like the one that with sloping headlights. Yeah.
Yeah,
You want that
993
as a
is
turbo.
like
Yeah.
after the 964
Yeah.
had those.
Yeah.
Was like the last stand.
That car
This was like
flies.
the last of like the air cooled.
Yeah, that car really goes, man.
It's 400 and 450 horsepower. So like for a Porsche from factory, that's a shitload for the time, and it's all wheel drive. So like it's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I mean that's
a great one.
definitely for sure, because I mean you have your Carrera GT, and I think that's an incredible car, totally undervalued right now. The fact that you can somewhere get a Carrera GT for less than $1 million is just crazy to me. I think they all should be well over $1 million.
I mean, the problem with the Carrera GT too is that you cannot. I wouldn't drive that as I would want to, but you just simply cannot because it's so low and it bottoms out so off. Like that is. It's also the toughest clutch ever to drive.
Yeah, this I heard.
So the way you drive a Carrera GT is there's no feathering of the gas when you're driving it. If you know anybody that's driven a Carrera GT, you just let the clutch out in first gear because if you feather the gas, you'll burn the clutch. There's no gas needed in first gear. Even when you're on a hill, you just gotta like hold it and just hope it's gonna catch. Because if you do, you'll burn the clutch. And that is terrifying. So I've been on a hill and I was like, ah.
You definitely don't want to pay for a burnt clutch in a
Dude,
Carrera
it's
GT.
Yeah, it's like $20,000. But like, I like that kind of fear factor. Like you're driving the car and you have no idea if it's gonna kill you, and I love that. That's why I like the 350R because it'll kill you. It won't make my final list.
Well,
but like right. I like death traps. Like an F40 is a death trap.
Well, I'll tell
the
you,
turbo
the
kicks in,
Turbo
it's
S is a death trap.
That's a death trap.
Absolutely a widowmaker.
I think
for
it's
sure.
sick.
It's awesome.
Sign me up, baby.
All right, so we have my F40, my RS6 Avant, my Diablo SV, and my Turbo S. And my last car was to decide between I don't know. I've thought about another hypercar or supercar, and I think that's enough fast cars for me. And I want a classic 1972 FJ40,
That'd be sick.
a Toyota Land Cruiser.
Would you get a
FJ.
classic one, or would you get a resto modded?
No, one
Icon?
of those Icons. I know what you're talking
The
about.
Icons are sick.
The Icons are sick, but I don't when I grew up, my dad had one, a red one, and he had custom diamond plate steel wrapped around the sides, and it was just so badass. I would definitely get a classic one.
That'd be sick.
And
FJs I've warmed up big time.
restore it.
I think they're sick.
I mean, I think FJs come on, we have everybody driving a Bronco right now in California, and everybody driving a Scout, And there's
D110s,
there's a huge,
D90s.
huge Defender 90 crowd and Defender 110 crowd for sure.
Especially the new one just came out
I don't
too.
think the FJs get enough love. I think that
dude, they're also bulletproof.
Yeah, I don't think the FJs get enough love.
Yeah,
so
that's one thing I'm missing in mine. I was thinking about it. Like I need an SUV,
something that's fun, something you don't care if you scratch the door or somebody else scratches your door. Like,
yeah,
I need a car where like I don't give a shit if like my dogs get in there and get the whole trash. Like I need a car I don't give a shit about, but at the same time, it's probably my favorite.
Totally,
you know?
And I think
it's gonna be the closest to my heart.
And I think if I were to choose something like that, like I need an SUV. First thing goes to mind is an Urus because I want like the fastest.
I thought about putting an Urus on my list.
That'd be cool.
It would, but
they're really comfy.
But it would have to be a cooler car than that. Urus is not cool enough.
An Urus is pretty cool.
When they come out with
Boris, the Urus is pretty cool.
Boris.
But like, yeah, I wouldn't want to like. Okay, I just give the Urus to my wife and then she curb rash with it. I'd get pissed about that.
4-seater.
Yeah, you can get a 5-seater.
Can you get a 5-seater?
Yeah, you get the option of 5-seater. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know.
That's still not a bang. You can't bang it up, and you're like, whatever, honey. Like it's fine. Not saying my wife would bash it up.
If you're buying an Urus, Can I stop saying Urus? Can I just say Urus?
Yeah, I don't know why you started saying Urus.
You started saying it, but
I like it.
Like when I don't know. I'm not into the Urus. The Urus, it's like
there's
it's
also
cool,
so many of them down here too,
and there's so many other options. And now like, all right, so the Urus shares parts with the Q8.
With the Cayenne,
they're nearly identical now with the Cayenne and the Cayenne Coupe. The Cayenne Coupe is incredible looking if you've seen it.
Well, it looks just like a freaking Urus now too.
I mean, yeah, but it's so much sexier. It's so much smoother. It's so much more like. I don't like it. I think that the Cayenne is well tailored after so many years of changes and variations in design. I think that they really nailed it with this one, and that like this is the first year of the Urus. They did a really good job, but I think it's not badass enough. It's not like aggressive enough for a Lamborghini. I mean, granted, it's like an entry level Lamborghini. It's like $200,000, similar prices as the Huracan.
An Urus?
Yeah,
I thought an Urus was more like 250, 300.
250, maybe 300 after tax and options and stuff. But like when you're talking about an entry level, like a beginning price MSRP for a Urus is like around 200. I think 210,000, which is like, which is what?
200K for MSRP.
200K. So I mean, there you go. It's like base Huracan is not spectacular looking. It's also 200K. But once you put a couple add-on carbon bits or you get a Performante or like a special version of it, that's when it starts to look good.
Yeah. No,
so I just think like the Cayenne Turbo, it's not trying to be a hypercar SUV. It's exactly what it needs to be. I think the Coupe is sick. But
so you bring up the Performante. Like I have it on my list. I have it on my list just because I think
the Performante is a great car. I mean, for a Lamborghini, it's like it made the Huracan into something desirable.
The one best driver's car,
a really good-looking car.
Yeah, it's like an actual good car to drive.
The Gallardo or the Gallardo, I thought it was so ugly.
Yeah, Cody hates the Gallardo.
Yeah.
You're not a Gallardo
I
loved it when it first came out, dude.
And I just hated when they came out with the Gallardo. I just thought it was such a shit design.
They made like 50,000 of them, right? They made so many, but
so you could get one now for like 30,000.
Yeah, it's a joke. Once
But,
vehicle versions got one, I was like, anyone can have one now.
A Gallardo?
Yeah, that's
You had one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't mean to like throw shade. He was in college at the time. But the reason why I chose a Performante is because I feel like I need like a mid-engine new supercar, and I wouldn't choose I'd have a Pista. I'd probably choose a Pista because I actually just drove one for the first time yesterday. I forgot to tell you.
You drove a Pista?
I drove the Nardo Gray Pista.
What?
And holy
freaking! Was also on my list.
You know what?
So,
Hot take. I'm taking.
Right.
I'm cut. Actually, I want a Lambo in my life, so I'd keep the Lambo on this list just because the V10. Because the V10 sounds better. But dude, the Pista. I was just driving around the streets over here, and I had it in second gear, and the thrust from those turbos is incredible. Like it just went and it just darted. And
there was a lot of pushback on those turbos. A lot of people had doubts.
Dude, the thing darted so quickly, and like it kind of like the way it put down the power was like the tires were kind of cold, but it just kind of darted me to one side and it scared the shit out of me because it was so fast. I was like, I can't. I was like, oh my god, that was like the most. I drove a Senna the day before, and I drove that, and it was way faster than the Senna.
I mean, it probably just felt
and
faster
like
because
on the
like
road.
a Senna feels like if you're not driving it as a race car, then it probably doesn't feel like it's going fast, even if you're going 100 miles an hour.
But it's all relative, you know what I mean?
But the Pista is like built to make people feel like they're going fast. I mean, right?
And it did its job so well. Like it felt like
the Senna is essentially supposed to make you feel like you're going less fast, so that you feel more controlled. That's why it has such crazy racing seats, and there's so much support there. So like you don't feel like when you go into a turn that you have to hold on to the wheel and really like.
That's a good point.
You know, it has you really supported. But with the Pista, it's been kind of
engineered to be more
like a road car. So when you're going fast, and it feels like you're really going fast.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm almost embarrassed that a Ferrari wasn't on my list of top fives.
You wouldn't even have
I mean, no, actually, I take that back. The F40 is the Ferrari.
See, that's the thing. Like,
I don't even think of an F40 as a Ferrari. I just think of it as like
just
the
sickest
car.
Like you ask anybody, you ask people who hate Ferraris, they're like, yeah, 40's sick. Like
you ask picture and
like Porsche nerds that spit on Ferrari. You're like, sup car is very cool, yeah. Like everybody loves F40s, dude. Like, and that's why I'd own one because it'd be like one of those cars. It'd be like I'd take to a show just so everyone can see it and be like, dude, this car I want to share with everybody.
Yeah, but
it's so sick.
But the 488 Pista is definitely on my list because of the amazing response that it's gotten. Everybody was kind of like iffy about the turbos with the 488 in general, and I think my favorite part of the Pista is the vent, the downforce vent. I think
it's cool, but I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it looks. Like from like a
we're gonna show a picture
angles,
of it.
Certain angles, it doesn't look good. You
can see that like the lines go from the diffuser up through the space over the hood, and it's just like I think it has an amazing flow of a car that like you don't really see that. That's a very interesting.
It's a very Ferrari thing to do.
Very interesting design.
Well, that is trickling on to the F8 Tributo, which is coming out next. The F8 Tributo has something like that as well. Yeah, it's more subtle than it, but it has it.
I'm excited to see these new Ferraris. I haven't seen either one of those.
Did you also know the F8 Tributo has the Pista engine in it?
The Tributo, yeah, it's the same specs, right? Same exact car, or is it more hybrid stuff?
No, it's the same specs. No hybrid.
That's the F9 or whatever.
The F8.
F8.
Dude, that's what Ferrari did last time. They came out. Do you remember?
They came out with these two models just now, and two of them, and they're kind of like right next to each other. I'm not sure exactly what's what.
That's what I was going to say next. When Ferrari had the 458 Speciale come out, basically the next month the 488 came out, and it was already faster. The 458 Speciale made, I think 620 horsepower, and the 488 made 650.
Yeah, but the 488 was essentially an introduction of the next model line, and
an introduction to induction.
Yeah, and that
was really cheesy. I apologize.
And not funny.
An introduction,
but it was like the Speciale was the end of that model line. You know,
right? But the fact that
the 488 was the beginning of the new model line, and it beat the specs.
That's exactly what they're doing with the F8.
But forget that. There's two new Ferrari models that are two different price ranges. One's like 400,000 and one's like 800,000.
That's the SF90.
The SF90.
That's the hybrid.
That's like their new hybrid.
That was the yellow one that was at Pebble Beach that everyone was taking photos of.
I didn't get to see that one.
Yeah, that's like a completely different thing. That's like its own model. Don't even think of that. That is a production run car, but that's not. The F8 Tributo is the next 488.
Yeah.
And the SF90 is just kind of by itself, and it's just kind of like a baller, kind of sick hybrid, like
hypercar.
Yeah.
So on the topic of hypercars, like right now in the market, what is Guidi's favorite hypercar?
Favorite hypercar? I don't have one on my list because, dude, I mean, the Carrera GT is kind of a hypercar of its time, so that's why I have it on there.
Is the Carrera GT a hypercar? Would you consider
for the time
now?
For 2005?
Would you consider that now to be a hypercar? I mean, that's a big debate I've seen online.
There are a lot
putting up those the polls on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, is the Carrera GT a hypercar?
Well, if you ever watched Apex, that documentary that was made by
like the Koenigsegg.
Yeah, basically the way they define hypercar is kind of the way I think about it. It's some car, so it's basically like their halo car of a manufacturer. Like it is everything that they can put towards a single car, the most space age technology. That like every ounce of engineering that they have goes into this one car, and that's basically what the Carrera GT was at the time. It absolutely was the only car with a V10, only Porsche with a V10, and it's incredible. Now we wouldn't consider it a hypercar because there's cars that are way faster than it. But in terms of like price and rarity,
has it been demoted to supercar?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I wouldn't consider it a hypercar. I wouldn't be like, that's a hypercar, because I consider hypercars like the newest cars.
Because we have these hypercar things out now with like 1,500 horsepower, at least like 800 plus horsepower in these Koenigsegg's and whatnot. And these things are breaking records, and like these are real feats of engineering.
Absolutely.
Not that the Carrera GT wasn't as an F1 engine, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
F1
like,
everything is like, dude. The thing is, like, it was you're just driving that car with like no nannies.
So Carrera GT, that's your hypercar.
But I kind of wanted to say that I also consider hypercars to be like the newest and coolest things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to say
like
this should be reserved for like on the market right now, like with all the hype and as far back as like 5 or 6 years, because there have been a lot of new cars that are kind of not in existence yet. The Jesko is a theoretical, it's a concept car. It's an awesome hypercar, but all the numbers are kind of theoretical.
Right. Was it you that was telling me the 150-pound weight limit of the driver? Was it you guys? You two? Koenigsegg came out with a statement. I read someone told me this. It's pretty funny that it only will hit 300 miles an hour if you're under 150 pounds, which is hysterical because it's like, I'm on the Jesko diet, bro. Like, I'm trying to get that 300.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're talking about cutting weight in the car,
dude, that car makes like 1,800 horsepower. Why does it need it has plenty of horsepower to get it to 300,
if you're a
right?
150-pound dude, you're a small dude.
You're a small man. You're like a.
But if you're like a brolic 250-pound guy, that's a whole 100 pounds more. That's a whole nother person. That's basically having a passenger. If the 150-pound person had a passenger and they're trying to go 300 miles an hour,
dude, I'm just like thinking of myself. If I was a billionaire and I could own a Jesko and I ordered one and I heard that, I would have like all my chefs cook me all this stuff and I'd like get on the Jesko diet. I'd get on it. I'd be like, dude, I'm gonna like hit that 300 just to say it because you can, right?
That's just because you want to. You want to be on the diet.
I don't want to be 150.
I could not be 150. Devote your life to.
There are few people who could do 150. I'm not one of them.
My body is not built for 150.
I'm okay hitting 290. I'm okay hitting 290 being a nice 180.
Is that it? Is that the answer?
Yeah.
Jesko?
For my hypercar?
Yeah.
No, my hypercar of choice. I have a different LaFerrari, so I can't tell you. But my hypercar of choice would be a P1, and you know what that's like, baby.
Yeah.
The P1 fucking slaps, dude. Yeah. It is such an experience. Oh my god. I'm not even a turbo guy, and it's just like,
yeah, the P1's pretty.
It destroys a 918. 918 moves. Don't get me wrong; it's so fast and it's so loud. Its V8's amazing. Everyone forgets that it has a V8 too, but the P1 is just like
amazing.
I was gesticulating with my hands to the podcast listeners.
This is Italian for
Era bellissima.
Yeah.
So that'd be my choice.
The P1 is freaking incredible. I mean, I got to agree.
It's also
really sick.
I was never a P1 guy. When the Holy Trinity came out, I was like, that's when I was a P1 guy. That's back when I was a Ferrari guy. I was like, the Ferrari's better. But like, dude, the P1's aged so well. It looks so good.
I think they all.
Oh my god!
I think they all did.
Give me that in purple. Give me that in purple. I'm done, dude. A purple P1.
Purple P1.
Purple P1. That's what I'd have with like alloy wheels.
Okay.
That'd be my spec.
Exposed carbon or
I'd have carbon in the places that needs to be.
Fair enough.
Probably like silver calipers with that, or maybe even purple calipers. Who knows? Black. That'd be my P1 spec.
Fair enough. Well, honestly, because you said P1 was definitely on my list to be my hypercar, but I want to see the Valkyrie. I think I have a lot of faith in the Valkyrie being like the most insane hypercar. So the Valkyrie is the new Aston Martin V12 from their F1, right?
Yes.
And
the Valkyrie is the track only version now.
But aren't they?
They make the Son of Valkyrie, which is the road legal one, and then
the Valhalla.
The Valhalla is its own model.
Wasn't that the Son of Valkyrie? And before they decided to name
the Valkyrie and the Valhalla.
Vulcan's totally different. Vulcan's track ready. It's a complete that.
The Vulcans.
There are a lot of V's.
So there's like an AM0001, AM002, and AM003.
Okay, it's all coming back to me. The Son of Valkyrie
is the 002.
The Valhalla.
Yes.
That is a completely different car.
2 or 003? The
3.
Yeah, that's
the 002 is the Valhalla.
Is the Vulcan.
No, dude, a Vulcan is not.
You just said
a Vulcan.
Are you listening to this guy? All right. 003 is the Valhalla, the son of Valkyrie. 002 is Valkyrie.
That's what I was saying. If I said Vulcan, I apologize. I didn't mean to say that. And 001 is Valkyrie for the road.
Is 001 is Valkyrie for the road or Valkyrie for the track?
For the road.
Interesting. So
that's why I'm so confused. I've talked to like the
whatever it is. I know that they're making a Valkyrie for the road, and they're making a Valkyrie for the track. I'm referring to the Valkyrie for the road, and it's a fucking V12. And
no, it's not. Going for the road is not a V12.
You're just
going for the track.
My life right now.
That's why it's so confusing because like the one like you would think the track would be would be 001.
Let's do a quick fact check,
dude. I've like squabbled over this for a while. I've even talked to Aston Martin people about it, and it's.
I mean,
I've gotten explained to me, and I'm like,
the fact that we're car people, and we can't just like articulate this.
See, Aston Martin Valkyrie is that track one. It's
also
black.
codename RB. Take this back, not AM. RB001, and it's a limited edition hypercar with Aston Martin and Red Bull.
Yes. Okay, so 001. I'll eat my words on that one.
And they're not making any sort of street version of this, or they are?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
But the street version is not a V12.
It's supposedly not the cause of the V12.
Well, that's a huge disappointment, but at $3 million, that's what I'm saying. I think there's a Valkyrie AMR Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Valkyrie AMR Pro is their racing version. And then there's the Valkyrie, which is like the street version.
Dude, I'm so confused on the whole thing. But
right,
okay, essentially,
there's going to be 150 examples. I'm looking at an article right now, 150 examples, and it's going to be with the intent to make the regular Valkyrie, not the Valkyrie AMR Pro, but the regular Valkyrie, the fastest lapping street legal car in the world. 150 examples and 1,160 horsepower. Jeez. So it's a V12. It's a hybrid V12, just like this new Lamborghini Sion or Xion or whatever they're going to call it.
That's like there's only going to be 63 in the world, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
But okay, so you're going to choose
the Valkyrie. I think it's like the sickest thing. It's just like the looks are bananas. The sound is bananas. The V12 is awesome.
Yeah, there's videos of
V12
and
it's not. It's not one of these like. It's not one of these guys in their garage that started a company a couple years ago. I mean, not to hate on any of those guys. I mean, Pagani and Koenigsegg have made incredible brands over the past 24, 25 years, how long have they been out? But, I mean, what is that? Like, I don't know. There's just so many $1 million cars, these hypercars that are coming out.
Yeah, we haven't even talked. I mean, we keep talking about the electric cars don't even do it for me. Like, I wouldn't want to pin. I'd love Pininfarina, but I wouldn't want one.
But what was that red GT thing?
The Draken GTE. The Draken. Draken. GT car having like 1,500 horsepower.
Yeah, with the suede interior, and it was like $1 million.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool.
I
but
don't
I
really
don't have any faith in it.
I don't
Like
care.
the Apollo IE, the Apollo IE. I think that's sick as hell.
That is the same engine as the Di Tommaso Pantera, the red one at Pebble
Yeah,
Beach.
exactly.
Which is sick. And you heard it driving around, right?
It's the same company, and it's sick. And like, are these cars worth millions and millions of dollars? Yeah, probably. In terms of like engineering and in terms of like the process of making them and all that. But I don't think that it's going to be any fun to drive. Like,
No, dude.
I don't think it's going to be any fun to drive. How like
either.
Apollo came from Gumpert, right? Gumpert, Apollo, and then another brand came
I didn't
over.
even think about that.
Yeah, so it was the Gumpert Apollo,
And that
and
car
then
shattered.
yeah, it had them.
I remember watching on Top Gear and being like,
R8 essentially.
well, they were
yeah, it
touting,
had the Audi R8 V8 engine.
they were
right?
touting
And then
that car made so much downforce so you can drive it upside down in a tunnel and it would stick to the ceiling. But essentially, what happened was the brand wasn't good enough to maintain as a brand. And a Chinese or Japanese company took it over and used the name Apollo as the name for the brand, and they came out with the Intensia Emozione or whatever, the IE.
Intensa emozione.
Yeah, sure.
Say it with
so
me.
then, Intensa Emozione.
Bravo.
All right. So then, like, I mean, that thing's freaking awesome, but I trust Aston Martin and Red Bull Racing way more to make a hypercar that I want to drive. So on to the next. What's your favorite classic?
I don't even have a classic in here because I kind of grouped the F40 as a classic, even though it's not.
It's like a classic. But I mean, what's your favorite classic car that doesn't have to go fast, unless that's your favorite car?
My favorite. If money were no object, if I were to have one classic car, it'd be a 250 California.
I knew it,
dude.
Why?
Because
it's like the most expensive.
No, I don't even care. I actually wish it cost less because I would want to drive it more. The thing is gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and like it's a top down. It's everything you want in a vintage car. Gorgeous, makes a great noise, V12, and it's a top down. And it's like the car. And like I'm sorry being a Ferrari fanboy again doing that, but what else?
Totally
like I would
Ferrari fanboy picking that car.
I wouldn't want a Miura. I wouldn't want a Jaguar E-Type. I wouldn't want I don't even know. I wouldn't want a 356 Porsche. Dude, a California is gorgeous. Hands down one of the best looking cars of all time. I'd probably even choose a 275 short nose if I didn't choose that.
Fair.
Like those are just beautiful, elegant cars that will stand the test of time and will be amazing anytime.
I agree. I think
that would be my vintage choice. California. Sorry for being super cliche. But go yourself if you think differently.
I'm gonna be a cliche American. So I have two, and it's from both sides of the pond basically. My favorite cars in general are 50s American cars. I think like American cars from the 50s just have so much chrome and so many curves, and they're just like, it was such an amazing time for design. And in the 50s and in America, it was an amazing time. And I think that like the Tri-5 Chevys are like my top classics. Those and like the Bel Air or
Bel Air. Nomad.
Yeah, freaking Nomads are insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Wagon Life, long roof, hell yeah. But what's Wagon Life, whatever he said. I don't want to throw up too many gang signs. We're in LA, so it could, But yeah, the Tri-5 Chevys and like the Cadillacs of that era.
No.
Shit, little chrome Dagmar bumpers.
I wish
Dagmar bumpers.
Are those ones with the freaking missiles in the front?
Yeah,
the ones that would impale people and kill them.
All right. So do you want to know what the story of Dagmar bumpers are?
No, I'd love to hear it.
So there was an actress at the time, and her last name was Dagmar, and she had huge knockers. So they started calling those bumpers Dagmar bumpers. It wasn't like a company. You wouldn't go into Chevrolet and ask them for Dagmar bumpers. That was just something they called them.
So it's like calling the handle on the inside of a car a good handle.
Yeah.
Like people call it that.
Yep.
You guys call it that?
Yeah.
Like they're not called like the instruction
just like
manuals.
the-
they grab the
It's
shit
just
handle.
like the street name.
upon
Yeah,
press.
it's just the street name.
I like
but
it.
But
That's
it
sick
like
as hell.
you know, it's one of those things that just kind of became the name of them.
That's really cool.
But yeah, that and I hate to do it to you, but those old school Jaguars really do it for me. And I would go with Steve McQueen's XKSS. I mean, that's one of the sexiest cars ever. The shape of that car.
It's very bubbly. There's a
it's
lot of
so
it's like a wave.
sensual. It's like just so sick. It's something so
It is like
sexy about that
the
car.
nice curve of a woman.
The coolest part about those cars is like at that time they weren't making cars. I mean, of course they were making cars to look good, but the whole like swoopy, smooth looking car was because of aerodynamics. They were built to like these people were thinking of like race cars, and they were like, what's gonna cut through the air? What's gonna be the most efficient in the air? And they made these cars really smooth and really sleek and really curvy and whatnot. And that's what kind of gave birth to the like sleek, sexy design of these sports cars, because it was like early aerodynamics, and that was the idea.
Yeah.
So that car is just like, and the attempt to make an extremely aerodynamic car, but it was just fucking badass, and it was Steve McQueen's, and it's a convertible, and it's
dude, that's rad.
kick-ass.
You didn't touch on a Canyon carver for yourself. That's my GT3. That's my GT3.
I mean, like
wing stick.
I know,
Stick
like
wing.
my Turbo S, my 993 Turbo S is basically like so close to your Canyon carver.
Would you like tune it up and kind of make it a little more modern? And give it some of this and all that.
It's too nice to fuck with. I mean, I would want to really rip
That'd
it
be a
up.
cool car to
want
like
rip it up, but that thing is
That'd be a cool car to do a little work to, though.
I think the
Wouldn't it?
993 in general, those turbos would be a really
Seriously,
sick car to do work.
I mean, it has a
to.
good stance already. You only touch it, just like maybe give it a wrap or like some exhaust or just something to like put a short shifter on the thing, because those shifts are just so long and ridiculous. Forget about it. It's like churning. It's like churning butter, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, like a Porsche would be an ultimate Canyon carver for me.
Yeah,
So I'm not super crazy about the ridiculous aftermarket aggressiveness of the RSs. Like, I think they look really aftermarket-y, which is cool. But like, if I was gonna get a cool Canyon carver, it would definitely be a GT3. I mean, you nailed it. A manual GT3, like, it's got all the aggression it needs, and it has all the handling it needs, and it's just like
the stick it needs.
Yeah, it's got everything, and it doesn't look like a freaking like a race car that like somebody's gonna be like, oh, why you got that?
Yeah,
driving around Beverly Hills.
If you get the touring, which is the same car, no one knows what it is.
Yeah, GT3.
But I want people to know what it is, because I want to wing and I want it in blue and I want to be a freaking badass.
Totally. So, but I mean, like, Porsches in general, rear engine, tiny wheelbase going around the canyons.
Oh,
it's great. But what about something that's like a little bigger, like different engine placement? What's like your favorite mid-engine
for that? That's what I was thinking. The Huracan Performante would be.
Yeah, that's what your favorite.
Just because the pops and like, I'm not the big pops and crackles kind of guy. I don't think you are. Did we talk about this? You don't like?
I hate that.
But that like does it in a good way on Overrun.
Keep it to the microwave. That's the only pot and your cereal.
But that car just makes the best noises. It's so fast. We know it performs because Motor Trend deemed it Motor Trend's car of the year last year.
I'm gonna go out and say that I'm taking the 600 LT over the Performante.
Oh, okay, that's decent.
Yeah, I
definitely with the exhaust sticking up out of the top.
And I'm gonna say the 600 LT Spider.
Yeah,
to boot.
Yeah,
because the Performante is amazing, but the Performante Spider is a driving piece of lead. It's over 4,000 pounds. It's incredibly heavy.
One thing I will say about the McLaren, which is great, is that it's, a Performante Spider, I think, is like $350 something or other, and you can get them. But a 600 LTs, dude, those things are like not that. They're like relatively, they're not that expensive.
They start at
they're so fast.
They start at 280. Once you put a couple options in them, they're right up there. But I mean, a Lamborghini like the Huracan Evo is 315. You know,
Yeah.
that's already more expensive than a 600 LT, and I think the LT is way cooler.
That's a great choice.
Way more visceral.
You wouldn't
way
choose the
more
Pista
aggressive.
though.
I mean, the Pista is
The Pista is just like honestly, it felt like it
Pista
feels
is
like
sick as
it's a
shit.
different monster.
You're right. I forgot about
It's a
the
totally
Pista,
different monster.
But
than the
honestly,
Performante.
right now, I think if I was driving down the road, like to everybody on the road, they see a Ferrari and they're like, "Ooh, Ferrari," you know, and it just kind of blends with the Ferraris. But McLarens are still, you know, they're not as widely known, and most
That's a great
people
point, yeah.
don't recognize. And when they see something like freaking jet engines shooting out the top, like that's my favorite part of any
It's
car
so
that
sick.
has those types of.
it spits flames.
Like what other car has that kind of like the 918?
Yeah, 918. Yeah.
The 918.
Carrera GT has in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
But like it has
Oh, yeah, still like
the Carrera GT has like little rocket ship engines in
But
the back.
top stacks is so sick.
Yeah,
And that's why if you look at a spoiler of a 600 LT, there's a rubber part in the middle, so it doesn't burn the
it's
spoiler.
not rubber, but it's like
It's not
it's
carbon
fire.
fiber.
It's
Yeah.
a fire retardant material so
Yeah.
that it doesn't burn the
Oh,
carbon.
that's a great choice.
It's
Honestly,
badass.
all three of those cars are so cool. It just kind of depends what you want. Do you want something turbo-y? Do you want something V10-y? Or do you want something just so stupidly fast turbo Ferrari 488 $500,000 car? Depends what you want. I'll go with the Lambo because I feel like I need one Lambo in my life. Just one, just for a little bit. I'll probably get sick of it after a while. Then I'll change all the things I've been saying. I'll just change my idea in like a week.
I need a Lambo in my life.
I'll drive
but
one and be like,
there's a certain public douchebaggery to like a brand new Lambo, and I feel like if you get a Lambo that's not brand new, then there's a little bit of taste in there. You get a little bit of like class when you have a Lamborghini that's not brand new. If you're driving a brand new Lamborghini, you're like automatically pegged as a douchebag.
Yeah, I suppose.
Sucks.
Yeah,
but like
stereotype. Yeah,
but like
big
the
time.
Aventador, that's a show. That is a production.
Yeah.
That is not a car to like drive around in traffic. It's built to sound crazy. It's built to be monstrously huge and inconvenient.
Dude, I was driving a convertible green one.
Like it's crazy.
I was driving a convertible green one on a PCH, and I come to a stop, and a lady hangs at her door, like a mom, and flips me off.
There you
She just
go.
like angrily is like, "Argh!"
Because
And I'm
you're
like,
24.
I'm like, what did I? I'm like, what the hell did I do? I'm like, I wasn't even driving fast. Like, I was like, I just gave her a thumbs up and just kept driving. Another one of my buddies was driving one, and a guy goes like this, and he like gives him one of these. A truck driver is like,
a tiny little
yeah, I
dick.
got a tiny thing. He just goes like, "Argh." Like one of those, and he's like, what? Like, it's like that's not like you're just driving that around. People just hate on you.
But
It's
if you were in
hysterical.
like a Diablo, that guy in the truck would drive by
Yeah,
and be
just like,
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, wah
that's
wah,"
like
you
true.
know,
That's,
like
okay. That's very true.
there's just an automatic like you're just labeled, and
Yeah.
it sucks. It's society, man, but it's a label you get. Driving
Hey,
brand
all
new
these cars,
Lambo.
man. You're kind of a douche. If we had all these cars, we'd be kind of douchebags. You'd be like, I'm gonna take my F40 out today.
Okay,
I'm gonna take my Koenigs. Like, dude, go suck one.
so
You're
like
insane.
I
That's
mean
awesome.
the next thing that we have on our list, it says brands that we like and dislike, and
we kind of went over all that though in a while.
Yeah,
It's like we're both Porsche guys.
I think for this reason, like, yeah, I love Porsche because it's Porsche, whatever. I love it because it's understated.
Yeah,
You can get
yeah.
an amazing understated car, and I dislike Lamborghini right now because they can make an extremely well-performing car, but most of the time it's just kind of like a production, and I also hate that it has this like negative connotation for a brand new Lamborghini.
Yeah. Hey, there's something to be said for just like showing up to a place in a car and people automatically think you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty powerful thing. That sucks.
Aventador SV at retail is like 450, 500 or
And
450,
and
500
no one wants to buy it.
MSRP. I mean, it's an expensive car, granted, and they go all the way up. I know Fabio has. You know who Fabio is?
No,
You should know who Fabio is.
Is he my brother?
I think Fabio's Italian, but like
Fabio's that one got the long hair who's always
yes,
in movies.
he's the blonde guy with the long hair, and
Oh my
he has
gosh.
one of the most. We'll pull up an image of Fabio, but he has one of the most highly optioned Aventador SVs So his Aventador SV is like $900,000+. He has every carbon option. So the louvers over the engine, like every single little option he can have in carbon. It's on nearly $1 million.
You get carbon.
But whatever it is, like, you're automatically a douchebag, and no matter how expensive the car is. But you can show up in like any Ferrari, and it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And your Ferrari could be $1 million and pull up next to a $300,000 or $200,000 Lamborghini, and the guy in the Lamborghini is a douchebag.
Yeah.
Not the guy in the Ferrari.
Dude, I was just looking at the time. We flew by. We've been filming for about more than 50 minutes. That's a hell of a long time. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
We didn't even stop for a sponsor thing.
Let's take this moment. It's a good thing we didn't have any sponsors for
That's
this
what you
video.
think. Let's have a word from our sponsors.
Hey, John, I'm really hungry for lunch. What are you feeling today? Oh, maybe we should get some pizza. Pizza? At this time, in this traffic in New York, what do we get? What's going on? Where are we going to order from? Of course we got to order from Tony's. Tony's Pizza? It's the best pizza in town. Hey, get me 3 pizza pies stacked. 1, olives, tomato, another 1, cheese, green onion, Sour Patch Kids. And some, and don't forget the onions on that one too. You want any pepperoni with that? Yeah, add pepperoni to both those, please. For your pizza needs, call Tony's Pizza on 3rd and Broadway. It's the best pizza in New York City, and I know this city like the back of my hand. Hey, I'll never go get there.
We are not at all affiliated with Tony's Pizza. We do not know if there is even a Tony's Pizza on 3rd and Broadway. We apologize for any unsolicited calls from Comin and Clutch fans to a Tony's Pizza, because we do in fact love pizza. We are not in fact mechanics. Do not trust us with repairing your vehicle. We need sponsors, so please help the channel grow and thrive by Venmoing Lorenzo Giacomini.
All right, guys, so that's enough for today. I think that we talked your ears off, and if you have any opinions, we'd love to hear them.
Please comment and let us know what you guys think, Supra or C8, for the beginning of the episode.
Totally.
If you tuned in later, would you rather have a Supra or a C8 Corvette? Comment below.
That's going to be the question of the episode for next episode.
Oh, would you rather?
Yeah,
basically.
Supra or C8. I think it's
Supra or
a really good lineup. I'm glad they both came out around the same time.
It's a good time to be a car guy, man. It really is.
It really
the golden
is.
age now. It's so great that we can afford all these cars right now, too, and buy them and drive them around.
Well, that's all, folks. I appreciate you tuning in, and tune in next time where we go over the C8 and the Supra.
He's Cody Lewis, a.k.a. LA Car Spotter.
And he's Lorenzo Giacomini, a.k.a. the Speedy Guidi.
There's no J in my name, but yeah, Giacomini.
It's Giacomini.
Ciao, bello. See you guys next time.
Giacomini. And this has been Coming in Clutch.
And a word from our sponsors.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Should we go film that at word by our sponsors? Do our pizza?
Did all the lights die and you had to plug them in or something?